please join me in saying, life is a gift for which we are grateful. We gather in community to celebrate the glories and the mysteries of this great gift.
Hi, my name is Chris Holton-Jablonski, and it is my great joy and privilege to serve you as your minister and to welcome you here to worship with First Church. I'm so glad that you've come, so glad, especially in this moment, in this full and complex moment we're sharing, to have this time to come together and to connect. Wanted to lift up just a few things before we get going. So much happening in the life of the church, so many things beginning. Do please look over all the stuff that we're sending. There's lots and lots of really wonderful stuff there, but wanted to lift up two in particular. There's a great class starting called Spiritual Leadership. It's being facilitated by two of our staff members, and a bunch of people have taken it in other places and say that it's really wonderful for emerging leaders, for existing leaders, really for anyone. So do please check it out. That's going to be on October 6th is the first one, and you can take that first class and then see if you like it and want to do the other ones. But my guess is you will, because it sounds like it's going to be amazing. And then just a few days later, on October 8th, we will be sharing this year's Where lecture from the General Assembly, Naomi Klein. Really wonderful presentation and really not to be missed. So that's going to be on the 8th. And so many other things. So do look up and look over all the stuff that we're sending. But for now, especially now, it's wonderful to have you here. So come, let us worship together.
Just as long as I have breath, I must answer yes to life. Though with pain I made my way, still with hope I meet each day. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to life. Just as long as vision lasts, I must answer yes to truth. In my dream and in my dark, always that elusive spark. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to truth. Just as long as my heart beats, I must answer yes to love. Disappointment pierced me through, still I kept on loving you. If they ask what I did best, tell them I said yes to love.
This is from The Low Road by Marge Piercy. What can they do to you? Whatever they want. They can take your child, wall up your lover. They can do anything you can't stop them from doing. How can you stop them? Alone you can fight, you can refuse, you can take what revenge you can, but they roll over you. But two people fighting back to back can cut through a mob. Two people can keep each other sane, can give support, conviction, love, massage, hope. Three people are a delegation, a committee, a wedge. With four you can play bridge and start an organization. With six, you can rent a whole house, eat pie for dinner with no seconds, and hold a fundraising party. A dozen make a demonstration. 100 fill a hall. 1,000 have solidarity and your own newsletter. 10,000 power and your own paper. 100,000 your own media. 10 million your own country. It goes one at a time. It starts when you care to act. It starts when you do it again and they said no. It starts when you say we, and you know who you mean, and each day you mean one more.
These are the words of Donna Markova. I will not die an unlived life. I will not live in fear of falling or catching fire. I choose to inhabit my days, to allow my living to open me, to make me less afraid, more accessible, to loosen my heart until it becomes a wing, a torch, a promise. I choose to risk my significance, to live so that which came to me as seed goes on to the next as blossom, and that which came to me as blossom goes on as fruit. My mind and heart have been full of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg this week. As soon as I heard that she had died, I watched the wonderful documentary RBG, which tells the story of her life. I commend the documentary to you all. The whole story of her life is fascinating, but there's this one little moment in which I've been swept up. It was during her first presentation at the Supreme Court. In her writing, she said, "I ask no favor for my sex. All I ask of our brethren is that they take their feet off our necks." And I think I was struck first by the powerful resonance with the killing of George Floyd. This intersectionality, the story of oppression and liberation, so woven, so much the same. And then I dug into it a bit, and it got even more beautiful. The woman Justice Ginsburg was quoting was named Sarah Grimke. Grimke was raised in South Carolina in the 1800s, seeing the terrors of slavery up close. Unable to follow a career in law like she wanted, like her brothers, she became a Quaker minister and moved to Philadelphia, where she preached and spoke out about slavery and the rights of women. Once she was preaching, and a prominent and powerful Quaker elder stood in the middle of her sermon and said that he hoped she was finished. This is rude in any faith and nearly unheard of for Quakers. That night, she began work on a series of letters, which then became a book which held this powerful quote: "I ask no favors for my sex. I surrender not our claim for equality. All I ask of our brethren is that they will take their feet from off our necks and permit us to stand upright." This was nearly 200 years ago, and this battle wages on. I'm so grateful for Sarah Grimke and Justice Ginsburg, for my own mother and her generation of women who worked so hard to rise up and push against barriers both visible and invisible. So many of you who worked for years and are now working still to realize and live into this dream of equal treatment of the sexes. To be sure, we still have a long way to go. Incidentally, in another one of my favorite quotes of hers, Justice Ginsburg says, "Women will have achieved true equality when men share with them the responsibility of bringing up the next generation." I can feel her smiling a little bit as I write these words in the cold fall darkness of early morning, as my children lie asleep above me in our house. I write in the morning so that I can help them all get ready and dive into the week of remote learning. I always knew I wanted to be a father, and with the relative flexibility of a ministry schedule, my beloved Lauren and I have always sought to share parenting, timing, and responsibilities evenly. And we shape our lives not consciously and intentionally so that my beloved may be liberated and that we may restore a generational oppression of women, but it is precisely the result of the work of people like Grimke and Ginsburg, who worked so tirelessly so that my children see this kind of equality as baseline, so that my daughter thinks that this should be assumed as a beginning place, that her career, that her blossoming and flowering is as important as that of any partner who may come along to steal her from me. And so that my sons grow up with the assumption that they should one day, if they want to start a family, that means that they are there with their children just as much as any other partner. That they are there for password finding, for Google homerooms and pickups and drop-offs. That they assume that any family they help create will not be some passive experience they can come in and out of as their schedule allows, but rather that they are equal partners in the pain and the struggle, equal partners in the snuggles and the joys, equal partners in the messes and the loudness, the whole glorious catastrophe of family. And this vision of family that I was raised with and that my children have known is the result of the vision and the hard work of generations of women. This is how the world changes, slowly and with the great commitment and tireless hard work of people who are reaching up and grabbing the moral arc of the universe and bending it with all their strength, taking breaks when they need to, sure, but reaching right back up as soon as they can and pulling it again. And this is, of course, our work right now. Alongside so many, we are building the beloved community, working for racial justice, working to build an anti-racist community and world. In this moment, we are being past seeds, we are being past blossoms. This has been a difficult time in so many ways. The relentless violence and the harming of Black and brown bodies has been hard. And the racist rhetoric and vitriol which has been trumpeted in the public square has been hard. And still somehow this has all brought a national conversation which is propelling us forward. In a recent article entitled, "Is This the Beginning of the End of American Racism?" in The Atlantic, Ibram Kendi, author of the wonderful book, How to Be an Anti-Racist, writes, "We are living in the midst of an anti-racist revolution. This spring and summer demonstrations calling for racial justice attracted hundreds of thousands of people." Elsewhere in the article, he says that this moment has held up a mirror to American society and reflected back a grotesque image that many people had until now refused to see. An image not only of the racism still coursing through this country, but also the reflex to deny that reality. I commend the whole article to you and all of his books if you haven't yet read them. Here we are, standing on the shoulders of so many whose vision and hard work has made so much possible. I am so grateful for Justice Ginsburg and Sarah Grimke. I am so grateful for all the good progress we have made towards liberation, and I am mindful of all that is ours now to do. As you might know, a group at the church has started a Black Lives Matter sign project. You can sign up to have a sign made and then pick one up. All proceeds will be going to supporting the Louis T. Brown Center Combating Violence. These are the folks who we partner with for their Mother's Day Walk for Peace. There are more details about the signs on the website and in the Unitarian, both to get some signs and pick them up, but also if you'd like to volunteer, you can also just reach out to me and I can help you get connected. The signs are part of building this liberation, receiving this seed and passing it on as blossom. The signs are part of calling out to this world and this moment that there is an inherent worth and dignity to all people, and that we want to live in a world in which all people are seen as whole and holy, worthy of respect and love. This is hard work before us. This is a hard moment we are living in. In some ways, though, I think it's harder to pretend we don't see. This is a poem I love by Ross Gay. A small, needful fact is that Eric Garner worked for some time for the Parks and Rec Horticultural Department, which means, perhaps, that with his very large hands, perhaps, in all likelihood, he put gently into the earth some plants which, most likely, some of them, in all likelihood, continue to grow, continue to do what such plants do, like house and feed small and necessary creatures, like being pleasant to touch and smell, like converting sunlight into food, like making it easier for us to breathe. So much love to you all. Amen.
Though days be dark with storms, and burdens weigh my heart, though troubles wait at every turn, I know I can go on. When sorrow heals my soul, and burdens make me strong, though troubles wait at every turn, I know I can go on. My sister in my heart, my brother in my song, though troubles wait at every turn, I know I can go on. And though the journey's long, the destination is near, though troubles wait at every turn, I know I can go on. So brothers, take my hand, and sisters, sing my song. When hope awaits at every turn, I know we will go on.
We give thanks for eating pie for dinner with no seconds, for solidarity in our own newsletter. We give thanks for blossoms and fruit, for risking our significance to live. We give thanks for Sarah Grimke and Justice Ginsburg, and especially for all those whose names we do not know, but upon whose shoulders we now stand. We give thanks for this moment, our moment together. We give thanks for this holding up of this mirror, for this grotesque image and reality. We give thanks for seeing the racism still coursing through this country and working tirelessly, now and always, to build the beloved community, to work for the liberation of all people, to say we and know who we mean, and every day to mean one more. So much love to you all. Amen.